What is it that you should be looking for if you're going out to a bar to meet women? Now, this video is in response to a number of questions that I've had from guys over the last few weeks asking me what I myself personally do. So I thought I'd make today's video, and I'm not aiming at the guys who are still really trying to learn the basics of how to approach, of how to talk to women. Because for those guys, the best thing to do is to try and stay as long as possible in every single interaction. Because what you're trying to do is maximize the experience that you have for the time invested. Now, that is a really brilliant strategy when you're in the beginning and you're trying to learn. And indeed, when I'm coaching guys in my 13-week programs in Sydney, that's what I do with them. The first 3-4 weeks, it's stay in every interaction as long as you possibly can. Milk it for everything it's worth. It's a learning experience, even if you don't get results. However, if I'm out, or some of my more experienced students are out, time starts to become a valuable asset again. Meaning you don't want to go to a bar and waste a whole bunch of time on women where things aren't going to go anywhere, right? Let's face it, if you're at a bar trying to meet women, you're probably looking for something more sexual, whether it's a sexual date, whether it's a one-night stand, or it's something that's less committed relationship in nature. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you don't want to be wasting time. And it's easy to waste time. I see so many guys going out to bars and clubs, wasting the whole night on women who are never going to go anywhere with them. So instead, what I want to do is tell guys how I go about it. Because if you see me, I'm in a relationship again now. But when I'm single, if I go to a bar and I want to pick up, you're going to see me jump into an interaction and leave in a few minutes. Jump into an interaction, leave in a few minutes, jump into an... You're not going to see me hang around for a long time until I find one particular woman, and then I'll spend like hours with her. And then I might go home with her, or we'll hook up that week, right? So it's a very different thing. I'm having a bunch of really short ones until a woman can jump through all of the hoops that I have set out, right? In other words, she passes all of the red flag tests that I set. And this is the way I go about it. And this is the way that I coach guys to go about it. And that's what I teach you about right now. So the number one rule I have for myself is no drunk girls. Now, I know that this might seem a little weird given that I'm going to a bar, and it might seem a little weird given the drunk girls seem to behave a lot looser. They're a lot more friendly and sociable and giggly and flirty and all the other stuff. But forget the morality behind women being drunk for a second, because it should go without saying, if she's so drunk she can't make adult decisions on her own, you should be not trying to have sex with her. But more than that, drunk girls are really unpredictable. And it's really because of this reason. Have you ever been in traffic and someone cuts you off and they do something really rude? Maybe they cut you off and they flip you off and they're really rude. And in that moment, you want to kill them. You literally want to kill them. But you don't really want to kill them. Like as in, it's a thing you want to do in that moment, but the smarter part of yourself says, yes, I want this right now, but I don't really want to take that action. Right? That's a thing that we have. And the more drunk that we have, the less clear our barrier is between what we feel and impulsively we want to do and what we actually want to do. So that's why alcohol brings about more violence, because people blur that line between what they want and what they don't really want, like, the different wants, the immediate wants versus the long-term wants. So when a woman's drunk, she'll start to blur those lines between what she wants in the moment impulsively. This guy's cute, he's fun, blah, 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 blah. I want things to happen with him, and what she would actually want when she's sober. And when you start to blur that line, interesting things happen, because first of all, she will flirt really strongly with you. She'll be really sexually suggestive. She'll do all these things. And then what she'll do is she'll realize, oh, I know this isn't really what I want when I'm sober, so I better stop. So what you get is you get a lot of these really frustrating moments where you think you've got this woman who's totally keen to go home with you, and then bam, she shuts it down. And that's good for her. Like, that's a good thing that she's doing, but it's frustrating for the guys because it makes it really hard to read her body language. So you can waste a lot of time. The other thing you get with girls who are drunk is their friends will step in. So if their friends feel like she is not able to make good decisions for herself, that's when they'll step in and block you and get in the way. Good. They should do that. They're taking care of their friend. I'm glad they're doing that. But it's for reasons like this. Drunk women are highly unpredictable, and you can waste a lot of time, and I don't really like drunk people. Tipsy is fine. The kind of tipsy to strongly tipsy is great. But if I get in there and the girl I like is drunk, even if she's flirting with me, I'm out of there, because I don't want to waste my time with someone that I can't read properly and can't connect properly with, because I don't drink myself. Number 2, if I'm there for 5 minutes and she is not strongly engaged with me, she hasn't really locked onto conversation with me, I'm out of there as well. Now, the reason could be many things. It could be I wasn't doing a good enough job. It could be that I'm just not the right kind of guy for her because I can't be the right kind of guy for every girl. It could be that she has a boyfriend. She doesn't want to talk about the fact she has a boyfriend, but she does. It could be a whole bunch of things. But one thing I've learned from thousands of approaches is that if I'm doing a generally decent job, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if I'm doing a generally decent job and she isn't locked in with me, like clearly interested to be talking to me after 5 minutes, it's not going to go anywhere. Now, obviously, there are times when you can turn it around. I have these great hero stories where this chick hated me in the beginning and then bam, she couldn't get enough of me. That happens, but it's not the norm. And time is precious. And again, when you don't want to waste your time, if she's not really into you after 5 minutes, bail. Find someone else who is, or you're probably just wasting your time. Because yes, staying in there, like I said, can be a learning experience. You can learn a lot. It's great, but it's not great if you just want to meet women. If you want to learn, stick in there. If you just want to pick up, bail. The third rule that I have, I don't think is mine uniquely. I feel like I've heard it somewhere before, but I don't know who to credit it with. But it's one that I adopted, a long time ago, 15, 16 years ago. And that's this. If a woman, if we've been in an interaction for say 10 minutes and she's not complying with me, then I'm going to bail. Now, what do I mean by complying? If I just say to her, hey, let's go grab a drink, if she doesn't comply to walk over to get a drink with me, that's not good. If I change the topic or I try to lead the conversation in a certain direction and she pulls back and doesn't comply with my push in that direction, that's not good. If I say, hey, it's really noisy in this spot, let's go sit down by those couches and have a chat. In other words, like isolate a little bit, but get somewhere a bit quieter, and she doesn't comply, that's not good. So her compliance level after 10, 15, maybe 10's a bit too generous. After 15 or so minutes, if she isn't complying with me, okay, that's also not a good sign. And it's one of these warning signs that I've learned really means non-compliance means it's not going to go anywhere. Certainly not tonight, right? If a woman is likely to go home with you that night or is likely to go home with you quickly, soon, sometime in a first date or whatever, her compliance will be extremely high. So that's a trick. It's a way of reading her that I've learned. If you're not sure if she's really into you or not, if her compliance is low, it's unlikely to go somewhere. So that's the next thing. It's a really big one. It's a really subtle one, but I find it highly reliable as an indicator of where things are likely to go. Are you guys finding this interesting? Because this is the kind of stuff that I love to talk about. And if you are, I'd love to get a thumbs up. And I'd love you to subscribe to my channel if this isn't the first one of my videos that you've been getting value from. Because I know that most of you guys watching who are enjoying my content regularly aren't subscribed. And subscriptions help me a lot with my YouTube. Now, also, if you guys are living in Europe, then I highly recommend you check out my European bootcamp because I'm going to be in Europe next month for the whole month of August. I've only got 2 spots left for one of my bootcamps. I'd love to have you guys there. It's going to be a really intense coaching weekend with me personally doing all the coaching over 16 hours. So it's going to be really amazing. I'd love to have you there. I'll throw a link down in the comments below if you're interested to check that out as well. Okay, the next big red flag thing that I look out for that will cause me to walk away pretty much straight away is if she asks me to buy her or her friends drinks. And this will usually become quite apparent, usually within the first 5 minutes. It almost never happens after then, occasionally, but usually not. When that happens, that is your sign to get out of there. I bail every single time because most of the time it means that she's just seeing you as a potential free drinks for her friends. It's disrespectful. It's the opposite of compliance. She's looking for compliance from you really early on, unreasonably, when she hasn't invested or brought anything to the interaction either. I will quite freely buy a woman a drink if we're having a really amazing conversation because she's invested in me, so I'll invest in her by buying her a drink. It's just a friendly thing to do. But when she asks for it, buy me a drink, buy my friend a drink, bail. Nothing else. Just go, yeah, no, I don't want to buy your friend's drink. I better get back to my friends anyway. Have a good night. Let her know it's poor behavior. The more women that get told this is bad behavior, you're going to lose guys talking to you if you do this, the fewer women will try that trick. Okay, the next trial or hoop that I get women to step through is unique to me. So what I do is I will tell a story that is funny and sexual in nature, and I will see how she engages with that topic of conversation. So what do I mean? Well, if I say to her, I was here last week at this place, and all of a sudden all the security started running to one corner of the club. I'm like, what is going on there? This must be a really amazing fight happening. I'm being a typical guy. I don't want to miss the opportunity to see a fight. So I kind of follow the security over to that corner of the bar, but it's not a fight going on. What I see instead is security are leading out two people out of the bathrooms, a guy and a girl being led out of the bathrooms. And I'm like, of course, they're having sex in there. And so I'm watching them, and what's so funny to me is that you watch the guy out front, and the guy's like doing the walk of pride. He's like, yeah, you know I was having sex in there. And the woman is like, you know, like when you see someone who get arrested for pedophilia or something, and the media's trying to get a photo of them, they're trying to cover their face. The woman's walking out of the bathrooms like that, like the walk of like massive shame. And it's so funny because it's like, why should a woman be ashamed of just having fun? You know, I think that's such a crazy thing. You know, it's such a nuts thing that we create this disparity when both people are just having a blast. Now, I tell that story. It's a kind of funny, playful story, and it's sexual in nature. Now, what counts is how does she engage with that funny sexual story? Because you'll really see a big difference between women who are likely to go somewhere with you sexually and women who aren't. Because the women who are, they will lean into the story. They'll laugh. They'll say, oh my God, good on her. That would have been so embarrassing, blah, 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 blah. They have fun with it. And they will stay on topic. It's not an uncomfortable thing for them to talk about sex with you, to talk about something funny and sexual. But the women who aren't interested in you and you go down this path, or the women who aren't very sexual, like, you know, they're unlikely to go anywhere sexual with you, they will take a step back. You'll tell the story, they go, oh, that poor girl, blah, blah, blah. And you'll see their body language will shift. They'll be uncomfortable. Their eye contact with you will get worse, not better. And, you know, they won't talk a lot about it and be happy to change topics. Those are the ones you learn to avoid. So basically, you tell a funny sexual story. If they lean in, very positive green flag. If they lean back, very obviously, it's a big red flag. And so this is another test that I have, and it's a really powerful one. It's one I haven't seen anywhere else, and I teach to all of my clients, and I highly recommend you guys use that as well. The last flag or hoop that I have, the checklist that I have, is if 10 minutes have passed and I'm not having fun, I bail. And this is, again, it's another one of those things of, if I'm not having fun in interaction, odds are sex isn't going to happen. I know that sounds really strange because, well, just because you're not having fun, maybe she's having a great time, blah, 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 blah. Maybe you're telling lots of great jokes and she's entertained. She may be all those things. But I've found that if I'm not really digging her, because the experience of really digging and really having fun usually requires two people to be in the same zone together. It's quite hard to really actually be having fun if you're not both having fun. And so I found that if I'm not having fun after 10 minutes, I'm going to get out of there because it's clear that we're not clicking. So she may still be engaging with me. She may still be respectful. She's not asking for a free drink. She's not doing any of the other bad stuff. But we're not really having fun. That means we're not connecting. We're not having the vibe. That great stuff isn't happening. And yes, there are turnaround stories, lots of them, but it's not the norm. The norm is that when you experience that, you know, like, hey, this is just a nice conversation, 10 minutes have passed, but I'm not feeling it, get out of there. Find someone that you are feeling it for. Now, I literally, if I'm out at a bar and I want to pick up, women have to pass every single one of these. Right? Each and every single one of these. And if they don't, I bail. In fact, my own list is even longer. And if you've loved this video, tell me that you love it too, because I will make another one of more of these. But basically, if women don't pass every single one of these, I'm out. And that's what you see me doing. When I go to a bar, I'm in and out and in and out and in and out because I don't want to waste my time or anyone else's time when I'm looking for one thing in particular. So yeah, I hope this has been interesting to you guys. I know a lot of guys, once they get some skills going, they waste way too much time with the wrong women, with women who don't want what they want, with women who aren't in the right place, headspace, whatever it is. And that's totally fine. It's not like women owe it to us to want to have sex with us. But the idea is that we don't want to waste our time with women who don't want what we want. And you need to be willing to be more brutal with that, more cutthroat, right? Start jumping in from interaction to interaction and don't waste time when you don't need to. And that honestly is how you can really start driving up your success rate, by wasting less time on women that simply it's not going to go anywhere. So guys, as always, if you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you live in Europe, I highly recommend you check out my European bootcamp coming up in August. Again, link for that will be down in the comments below. As always, I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Take care and stay safe.